travel recovery video. In this video, we're going to cover a couple recovery strategies that are movement related. If you're traveling on a plane or if you're traveling in a car and you're sitting down or spending a lot of time in a position where your knees are flexed and your hips are flexed. So this is going to be a short mobility series to kind of think about opening up the hips and loosening up the back. When we start this series, we're going to start laying on our backs. We're going to take our knees side to side, getting a little bit of a stretch out of the lower back as we alternate the knees, dropping left and right. For this movement, we can go 5 to 10 times for each direction. And what I'm thinking about here is keeping my upper back flat to the ground while I rotate my pelvis left and right. To add a little bit more rotation, I'm going to take one knee and drop it down to the foot of the opposite leg and just getting that driving motion from my pelvis to rotate my upper back. So that would be our first movement here. Our second movement is going to be a glute bridge. We're going to do a glute bridge hold for 3 seconds, come back down, glute bridge hold for 3 to 5 seconds, come back down. Let's get about 5 to 10 reps of that squeeze and that hold, really trying to drive that extension into the hips, open up the front side. Then I'm going to do a hold with a little bit of a march. So maybe we go 5 to 10 reps for each leg as we're opening up the hips. We're just activating the backside. We're then going to flip over on the stomach. When we flip over on the stomach, I'm just going to flip around so we can see in the camera. From this position, I'm going to press up. From this press up position, I want to think about extending through my lower back as well as through my hip flexors. If you can't keep the front of your hip bones on the ground, I want you to think about opening up more of the hips by squeezing your glutes toward the ground and maintaining that pressure through the backside. You might feel a nice opening through the front of the abs as well as the front of the hips. This is perfect. We're going to add a little bit of spice to this one. As you press, I want you to turn and look toward one side, come back down. As you press, turn and look toward the other side. So we're going to press up, rotate, press up and rotate, just alternating sides here, leading with the shoulders, leading with the chest, and my head follows. From this position, going into a tabletop position, we're going to take one hand, we're going to reach it through the other window that my body creates, rock back, feel a nice stretch through the upper back, switching sides. Nice exhale as you reach through and pull. As I reach through and pull. Maybe we go 3 to 5 reps for each side of the body here. Can't forget about doing a little bit of rocking mobilization for the hips. So let's actually go side to side. Just loosen up the hips themselves as we go left and right. Lead with the pelvis. Get a little bit of a stretch out of the glutes as well as out of the obliques and out of the lower back. As we go left and right, just opening up the back, open up the hips. Using the breath to help control that position. Then I'm going to take one hip to the outside, give a little bit of a rock. Both hands are on the ground still as I'm rocking my knee forward and to the outside here. Then I'm going to switch sides, forward and to the outside. All of this is low level stretching, just making sure we're opening up the hips, making sure we take some pressure off the back. Lastly, I'm going to now sit up nice and tall. I'm going to drive the hips forward as I drive my hands overhead. I can hang in this stretch. I can open it up and just sit here, or I can turn it into a dynamic forward and backward motion. You can also add a little rotation with that forward driver. So on this one, maybe 5 to 10 reps for each side. Switching the other way. I'm gonna go for overhead first. Just letting my chest drive the movement and letting my pelvis open up forward as I drive the movement with my hips. I'm gonna rotate. Get a nice stretch, open everything up. We're just undoing what that chair does to our body. Getting out of that hunch position. Then I'm gonna finish with rounding forward at the shoulders and opening up, rounding forward and opening up, round forward and open up nice and big. I'm thinking about arching, taking the palms and driving the palms backward, opening up my neck, and then reversing that whole position. I can start with the hands, leading the hands in, shoulders come down, head comes down, round and tuck. Feel a nice stretch through the upper back to the lower back. Then I'm gonna lead with my head and my chest, open up the shoulders. Turn this into some kind of flow. Or just opening and closing, taking those joints all through their ranges of motion that we have, making sure I don't lose any of that range of motion while we travel. And now we're set. You can do this before bed. You can do this before starting your day. So you could do it in the morning when you first wake up, or at nighttime before you go to bed. I'd probably also recommend this once you finish driving or once you get off the plane and you get to your hotel room. Put the luggage down, find a spot on the floor, just start to open up different areas of the body. All right? This is your warm-up, cool down after traveling or before traveling.